It is now 25 minutes moving up on the 9 o'clock hour right here at ABS 90.5 FM. And before I told you that we'll be joined by Julian Mannix from the Central Board of Health, but I had a little bit of switch. So I have with me this morning Dr. Nicola Bird. She's the Executive Director of Integrated Health Outreach Inc., IHO, and also Kieron Murdoch, and he's the Communication and Administrative Specialist at the Integrated Health Outreach Product. And of course, I'm excited to introduce an important initiative that highlights the power of community action in protecting our environment. Integrated Health Outreach, a non-profit organization dedicated to improve ecological and social well-being, has partnered with the National Solid Waste Management Authority here in Antigua and Barbuda to recruit Litter Prevention Warden. And I say good morning to you guys. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having us here.
Thank you so much for coming in. Good morning, Kieron.
Good morning.
How are you? Let me just ask you to just push a bit to the side for me.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, great stuff. And of course, where and when do the idea of this project come about? Or matter of fact, before that, let's just speak a bit about the outreach program, the program that you're having.
Oh, so Integrated Health Outreach, as you said, we're a not-for-profit organization. And so we do work in terms of well-being across all platforms and communities. So this particular project is focused on conservation. And so people kind of like, that sounds like such a big word, but it's really just the environment. It's just taking care of our environment, protecting our environment, and we are part of our environment. So when we take care of our environment, we take care of ourselves. So this particular focus in terms of conservation is funded by, it's a World Bank funded project with the Global Partnership for Social Accountability and the Critical Ecosystem Partnership Fund. And so we want to shout out, of course, our donors in making this possible. And the goal of this is to improve our environment and protect it better, our species, and of course our mangroves and our whole ecosystem, which is of course our environment, because that impacts us. And when we think of our environment, and I'm repeating myself here, but it's really important, and I really hope our listeners, is that we understand that we are part of that environment. It's not out there, it's not what we do, the environment also impacts us. And so this whole initiative is coming out of working to build the capacity of the community. And I think that sometimes when initiatives happen, communities might not feel they're part of that solution. It's really important that communities are involved from the beginning at all stages of participating in the solution, and that is a co-partnership.
And I like the initiative of getting the litter warden prevention wardens on board. And just tell us, what role do you guys play, and what role the National Solid Waste of Antigua play in this initiative for the litter warden?
So we are partnering. We approached National Solid Waste Management Authority. It was a community initiative, actually. The community came out, met with different government stakeholders in part of collaborative social accountability. Oh, big word, but what it really means is that the community and the government work together to find solutions to problems and work as partners. So it's based on the concerns of the community, what the community would like to see as a change in this particular instance, in terms of the environment. And so the community came out, government representatives who agreed to participate, they came out as well, invested in the community. And one of the things the communities indicated was they wanted to see improved waste management. And that was a big interest. So National Solid Waste really came on as partners for this. And they do have, Solid Waste has their litter prevention wardens as part of their staff. And so the idea was to now include community volunteers as wardens and ambassadors of your environment. So it doesn't feel like, like if government's coming in, it's like, oh, government's doing this to us. We really want that, we move this kind of division.
A sense of ownership.
Yes, you take ownership. Yeah. And then they can now work alongside, so they would be mentored. And so that it feels like it belongs to them, they're working together. So National Solid Waste will be providing the training, the ongoing continual mentorship for those who come out and want to participate in this program. So we're looking for volunteers to volunteer for 1 year. If they want to volunteer continuing, they can as well, but we want a 1 year commitment. It is an unpaid position. But again, you gain a lot of experience and you work for your community. And we have had a lot of interest and a lot of excitement about this wonderful initiative. And it's a trial. We're very excited about this. And we're also going to be doing school litter wardens, develop a program in the schools so that we have appointed students as well that are functioning in their schools, starting out as litter wardens from National Solid Waste.
One of the benefits, I'll just jump in really quickly to say, of working with the community is that in every community, it is the people who live there that know what's going on. So it's much easier and it to work collaboratively because you may be in a community and you know that from time to time somebody goes and dumps in this location. In fact, you may even know who the person is. You see the truck go in and you know that it's a problem, but sometimes maybe engaging with the process hasn't been so easy. And this gives persons in communities, residents themselves, the opportunity to actually be a part of the solution, to take action themselves.
Okay, great stuff. And what are required of the wardens?
Well, as Dr. Bird would have indicated, they ought to be prepared to go through that training with National Solid Waste. They ought to be able to commit to at least a year. But in terms of actually, we know some persons might drop off, but before you sign up, you ought to know that, hey, I ought to be able to commit to this for a year. It is going to involve from time to time, you may have to appear in court in order to follow up on, let's say, you cite somebody for something under the guidance of Solid Waste, you get that training, they'll show you how things are done, and you'll have to follow up with those procedures. So you ought to be committed. It's not a fly-by-night sort of thing where you go, you do the training and, maybe you see something going on, you pick up the phone, you make a call and that's it. That's what we're supposed to do. That's what we're supposed to do as just regular citizens. When we see something, just pick up the phone, call Solid Waste and make a report. But now you'll actually have the opportunity to be a warden, which means you're going to be further involved in the process of following up to make sure that whatever incidents are taking place are dealt with according to the Litter Control and Prevention Act.
Okay, and who are eligible for this position, and how can interested persons sign up?
Anybody is eligible, of course, adults.
18 and over. Adults,
18 and over. Adults, yes. So anybody who wants to take part, we are particularly interested in getting persons from NSWMA communities. Now, the NSWMA is an acronym for the Northeast Marine Management Area. It's a protected area on Antigua's northeast zone. We have a number of communities in that area, and so we were particularly interested in getting persons from that area, but nonetheless this is a national initiative, so it doesn't matter which part of Antigua and Barbuda you're from, you can happily sign up to become part of this initiative. The reason that we are encouraging persons from the NSWMA communities is because that has been where a lot of our focus is on, because it is, of course, an ecologically sensitive area. So you have a lot of our environmentally valuable areas in that zone. And so we've been encouraging, over the course of this project, we've been encouraging persons from those communities to get active, get involved, and so on and so forth. But as I said, it's a broad national initiative. So long as you're an adult, feel free, you can sign up. And you would ask the question of how to sign up. If you go to our Facebook page, which is IHO.
AB.
You just search IHO on Facebook.
Or Integrated Health Outreach.
The page will come up. You go there and you will see our post. It's pinned to the top of our page, and you will see our sign-up link there. We also have it circulating, whether it's on WhatsApp, Facebook. You will likely see it if you live in Antigua and Barbuda. You will likely see it.
And how soon will this initiative come on stream on board?
Well, the orientation is planned for the last week of October, and then training would begin first week of November, and about 3 weeks. So the amount of hours are being worked out right now, but it's probably about 3 to 4 to 5 hours a week in terms of training, and then you get appointed. I think the key thing that Kieron was mentioning that would hold people back and people need to think about before they sign in and join is that you will need to go to court if an infraction has been laid. If someone has been charged with an illegal dumping infraction, you have to appear in court. You have to. So if you're like, I don't want to do that, this is not for you. So you might have good intentions, but you have to understand that's part of the commitment. And if that's, I don't want to be in my community and be the one that's the whistleblower, or then we understand that, we respect that, but that's part of the job. And I think it is important. I mean, that might sound scary, but illegal dumping is a serious crime. The fine for it has increased to 40,000. So it was initially 3,000 for citizens and 50,000 for corporations. But then when we had all that flooding and we saw the impact, we tend to think of pollution often as it's just an eyesore. But it's more than that. It's an environmental hazard. It impacts our species. It's also a health hazard, because some of these things are hazardous as well. So when we dump things and they go into the drain and they clog and they create the flooding and so that
the plastic goes into the sea and the turtles and
so it's just a long list. So it affects our health. It affects marine life. It affects land. It's long stretching. So, and we're a tourist country. When we have a dirty country, people don't want to come to a dirty country, so it affects your economy. Like it's
the list is endless.
It's endless. So that's why the government has increased illegal dumping to 40,000. So because we need to address it as a serious crime. It's not just I can get away with this. Who cares? And
it's a cultural issue as well.
Yes.
It's a cultural issue. We have a culture. I'll say this: we have a culture in terms of dumping. Of you have something that you don't need, that you don't want, old stove, old this. You just drive out somewhere, and you just throw it. That's a culture, and so part of this effort is to change the behavior, change those negative behaviors, change the culture, and allow persons to realize that you do have to follow the proper procedures. It is to the benefit of your country, it is to the benefit of your environs. I mean, the thing about it really is that we never do it in our own communities, in our own area. You go somewhere else. You wouldn't, take a thing and dump it next to you. And if somebody did that to you, you come outside and you get vexed. You say, wait, what do you think this is?
Mortified.
but you drive out to, and the thing is, in terms of finding a secluded area, so many of our ecologically sensitive areas are those secluded areas, just a nice little road going here, a bit of wetlands here, and somebody just go and just offload everything back down.
No, I hike. So when I go and I'm hiking into
you'd be amazed.
It's shocking.
People drive on they find trails
and they dump and it's like,
and you can tell it's truckload. You actually see the
truckload.
Yes, of stuff.
And yes, and you take it to the landfill. You do have to pay to go into the landfill. It's not an exorbitant. I think it's between 50 or 100. So it's not prohibitive. Oftentimes when people are, it's like construction. I mean, who's amassing that amount of garbage? Nobody normally. So, I mean, I don't want to have a neighbor with a place full of garbage. We like our areas, as Kieron said, to look nice. So we need to adapt that mentality that this is our home. You don't want your home to look like a junk heap. I don't go around driving in Antigua and seeing garbage in people's front yard. People Antiguans really like to have nice, coiffed, they have their lawn, they have their flowers. No matter all neighborhoods, no matter the size of the house, people take care of their gardens. So we do have a cultural habit of gardening, taking care of your garden, have your flowers. So we need to extend that mindset to trash and garbage and pollution and how we take care of our country, not just our backyard or our front yard.
Yeah. I mean, what's the sense of having a lovely front yard and when you drive a mile down the road, there's
all sorts of garbage and old stove and fridge and
trash. And one thing I will say is that we underestimate, when it comes to littering, we underestimate the impact of just one piece of garbage.
Yeah, we do.
As an individual, you throw one piece of garbage out your car window, and you see it. Sometimes you'll be driving and you see it. You throw one piece of garbage out your car window. 100 other people do. There's 100 pieces of garbage gathered in some gutter somewhere in front of somebody's business place, clogging up a gutter, creating stink, creating water, creating moss, mosquito breeding. I mean,
it's just a long list of problems that it creates.
It's a long list, and so we kind of think about it. We dismiss it. Sometimes you see trash, whatever. But have you ever, let's say, travel to any place where maybe they're a little bit better at keeping the place clean. You don't see so much litter, and you actually notice it, and it's only then that you begin to think, we litter too much in our home country. We litter too much, I mean, some places it's worse, but we're trying to get better. So we focus on better examples.
Of course, yes.
And I think a lot of people are talking about this now. I mean, people never used to talk about waste, but it's really become part of the conversation. There's a lot of focus, and people are really invested in having a beautiful country, which we deserve. We deserve to have a beautiful country.
It's everybody's business.
It's everybody's business.
Great stuff. And finally, speak to us about the donors for the project and the relation between the donors and the IHO.
Right. So our wonderful donors, the Critical Ecosystem Partnership Fund and Global Partnership for Social Accountability. This is a 4-year project, and it's to create that partnership and that between government support and community needs. So there's this ongoing conversation between community and government, so that the community can identify what is important to them, what needs they need met in terms of the environment and conservation and protecting their environment. It's focused on the NEM area, the Northeast Marine Management, which stretches from Pebble Beach to Mill Reef. So, and as Kieron said, it's a very important ecosystem, and so the community has been amazing in coming out and engaging and having meetings, and we have some incredible government partnerships as well. National Solid Waste, Ministry of Education, Fisheries. For instance, Ministry of Education coming out to the meeting with the community has increased conservation education. So now it's part of the grade 6 curriculum. It never was, and it's part of the electives. So we're seeing how, and that came out of the community's voice, community saying this is what they want to see as a change. So it's really important, this powerful approach, because we tend to think of government as your ministers, like in Parliament, but this way the departments come out and there's a focal point, and they liaise with the community and hear the needs and do take action. And that's where all of these actions are coming out of, from the community. It wasn't us as an organization saying, oh, let's do this. All of these ideas have come out of what the community has said they wanted in the NEM area. And the government listening to this and us coming up with solutions.
Great stuff. And we're running out of time. When you're having a great conversation, the time just flies. And I just want to say thank you to Dr. Nicola Bird. She's the Executive Director within the Integrated Health Outreach Inc., IHO, and also Kieron Murdoch, and he's the Communication and Administrative Specialist at the IHO. And of course, our focus this morning on the partnering with the National Solid Waste Management Authority here in Antigua and Barbuda in collaboration to recruit volunteer litter prevention wardens. And I say thank you so much for coming in this morning.
Thank you so much.
And I wish your outreach all the best.
Thank you so much.
But I say just
yes.
Really, really quickly, if you do want to get the link directly, you could always send a WhatsApp to 736-4446. That's the IHO WhatsApp number. Once you send it, I'll send you the link.
Just repeat that number one more time again.
736-4446.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.